When people talk about the best Star Wars lightsaber fights of all time, what usually gets mentioned? If you like the crazy choreography, and as a massive prequel fan, I do, it's the Duel of the Fates, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon versus Darth Maul in The Phantom Menace, or Battle of the Heroes, Anakin versus Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith. If you want emotional stakes, it's probably either of the Luke versus Vader battles, Empire Strikes Back, or Return of the Jedi. And all of those are fantastic choices. But what if I told you that my favorite lightsaber duel is from a show you might not have seen or even heard of? Clone Wars. No, not The Clone Wars, but Clone Wars. The unfortunately non-canon 2003 micro-series is one of my favorite Star Wars projects ever, and it is criminally underrated and underseen. There are many great things about it, but one of the shining examples is the Anakin Skywalker versus Asajj Ventress fight. Guys, this battle is incredible, but I don't want to ruin it for you if you haven't seen it. So, do yourself the favor, watch it, or watch the whole show. It's only like 2 hours long and it's on Disney+, then come back to this video. There is not a single lightsaber fight that I rewatch more than this one. I remember my mind being completely blown watching this for the first time on TV as a kid when it first came out. But first, I want to establish a little bit of context. Asajj Ventress is a super interesting character, and we all know that now, but at the time, we knew very little about her. Still, I was immediately drawn to her. Interestingly enough, in early drafts of Attack of the Clones, a female Sith was being considered in what ended up being the Count Dooku role. They liked the idea so much that they brought it back and ended up using her as an underling of Dooku in the aforementioned 2003 micro-series, and then again, of course, in The Clone Wars. But in this version, she first appears in the first act of Volume 1, or in chapters 6 and 7 of 20 as they were coming out at the time, on the planet Ratatak, or Ratatic. To be honest, I've only ever seen that word written, absolutely annihilating all different kinds of adversaries in an arena, mostly with sheer force abilities, only using her lightsabers at the very end. And she does have 2 lightsabers, which is awesome, and she gets brand new red ones after this little 2-episode arc. It was an incredibly impressive showing and served as sort of a showcase for Dooku. I latched onto this character right away and thought she was super cool. I even remember getting the action figure. She gets a little too big for her britches though, as Dooku easily dismantles her in a duel, showing that she still has much to learn. She then has a meeting with Sidious to discuss her assignment, which is to kill Anakin Skywalker. It serves as a test for both characters, mainly for Anakin. Palpatine, or Sidious, assumes that Anakin is going to win, and he believes it is a test for him. However, if somehow Ventress is able to defeat him, she can then take his place as Sidious's future apprentice. But Sidious is fairly confident that Anakin will win, so we won't have to worry about that. The build-up to this fight is incredible, especially considering how little time they had to do it. These episodes were very short. We got introduced to Ventress, we like her, we think she's cool, and we are already invested in Anakin and his journey. The first half of Volume 1 ends with a new fighter arriving to the space battle that Anakin is fighting in, and the second half begins with a dogfight between them, and then Anakin ends up chasing her around the city. She is a match for his piloting skills, and he senses that she is very strong in the Force. He has fallen for the trap. He chases her all the way to Yavin 4, where the fight is to take place. I remember leading up to this, one of my friends in my 3rd grade class had this hot take that Anakin was going to lose to Asajj Ventress and die. I know he thought he sounded cool, but dude, he literally becomes Darth Vader. Of course that's not going to happen. Still, as a little kid who didn't think much about continuity, there was some doubt in my mind, building incredible hype and suspense and anticipation for this fight. Still, we had no idea just how unforgettable this battle would be. The clones that Obi-Wan sent to Yavin 4 to help Anakin get picked off by Ventress one by one, and she does so without even revealing herself. It's very horror-esque. She even kills this version of R4, which I remember being pretty sad about at the time, all to get to Anakin. We know he's in for the fight of his life, and we are so ready. As the fight begins, the insane choreography and impeccable animation are very noticeable right off the bat. The attention to detail in this battle is insane. Visually, this battle has aged incredibly. I will always prefer 2D hand-drawn animation over CGI. Not only is every single lightsaber strike perfectly thought out, they fight so fast and you cannot find a single flaw, but the backgrounds are so perfectly thought out as well, and they make good use of that to keep the fight interesting. Cutting the tree, Ventress forcing logs at Anakin to distract him, Anakin fighting off those logs, then getting hit by one, Ventress hiding in the trees, then forcing the branch that Anakin was on, then cutting the vine that he hangs onto, fighting while force jumping across the trees, then while in the air, Ventress forcing rocks at him. Going along with that, I absolutely love the use of the Force in this battle, mainly from Ventress, especially in the beginning. She is an incredibly talented Force user. Aside from the aforementioned using the surroundings to her advantage, she also breaks Anakin's Force barrier multiple times and forces him back with 2 fingers. She has to do it that way because she uses 2 lightsabers, so she doesn't really have a free hand, and that is one of my favorite parts of this duel. Always thought that was super badass. Anakin starts using the Force more as the fight goes along, though, forcing her into the temple, then forcing the water in the temple onto her. Such a small blink and you miss it moment, but so memorable. Then forcing the pillar that Ventress forced at him back at her. She force slams him into the wall, then he forces her all the way up the stairs. Another great detail is how battered the characters become throughout this fight. You see visually the toll that it has taken on them. Ventress's clothes get super ripped up, and Anakin loses his tunic and is completely down to his undershirt. They really beat each other up in a way that you don't really see in any other Star Wars lightsaber duels. Another highlight of this duel is the changing settings. They start in the jungle on the ground, then they go up into the trees, then Ventress leads Anakin towards the Massassi Temple, which may have actually backfired on her. More on that later. It starts storming, which both visually and audibly signify the fight going to the next level. The rain hitting the lightsabers is an awesome detail. I can't think of any other lightsaber duel having something like that. Then, once they actually enter the temple, the rain dripping through sounds like Darth Vader breathing, an incredible audio cue that also serves as great foreshadowing for Anakin's future and how this fight will end. The lightsabers lighting up the characters in the temple, man, so many little details just bring this fight to the next level. The first clash of Anakin and Ventress's lightsabers in the temple is legitimately one of my favorite shots in Star Wars history. This is a gorgeous looking fight, especially in the second half. The constantly changing dynamics, settings, and backgrounds prevent the fight from ever becoming stale, even for a second, and signify escalation in the fight. Once they get to the cliff with Yavin Prime in the background, we get some of the best visuals in not only animated Star Wars history, but, in my opinion, in Star Wars, period. Of course, we have to talk about the music. What would Star Wars be without incredible music? Like the visuals and the in-universe sounds and the sound effects, the music is also incredibly important for the vibe of this duel and is constantly changing. It starts off slightly more fun and upbeat, then slowly becomes darker and more intense, just like the fight itself. If any of these elements were lacking, the fight wouldn't work nearly as well. The conclusion of this fight is, to me, some of the best 45 seconds ever put to screen. Anakin had clearly taken control of the fight by this point, but he slips up a little bit and allows Ventress to rid him of his lightsaber. But when she goes for the killing strike, he grabs both of her arms. Duel of the Fates plays. He takes one of her lightsabers, and then he goes full Vader, full dark side, and gives into his anger and slams his lightsaber onto hers until the ground beneath her breaks and she plummets to her death. I am getting chills while typing this. Ventress's scream as she falls to her death is bone-chilling, as is Anakin's scream immediately following. Then he tosses her lightsaber down as well. I was mind blown and shocked when I first watched this. I did not necessarily expect Ventress to die. I really liked her character, and it all happened so fast that I kind of just sat there for a second like, what just happened? This was another huge step towards Anakin's turn to the dark side. After killing the Tusken Raiders in Attack of the Clones, his full embrace of anger led to his victory, and we can tell that he loved the way it felt. The dangling carrot that is the dark side of the Force is right there. It's only a matter of time before he takes it. As Yoda said, quicker, easier, more seductive. We even see flashes of Yoda and Qui-Gon as he is attacking Ventress at the end, as if they are warning him against this path. He also disobeyed Obi-Wan, following Ventress to Yavin 4 in the first place. Like everything in the prequel era, this battle, and particularly the conclusion, went exactly as Sidious planned and wanted. For my money, one of the all-time great Star Wars moments that has stuck with me ever since I watched it for the first time. As to why Anakin won and Ventress lost, there are a couple reasons. Of course, the obvious one is that Anakin is just more powerful, and you see this more and more as the fight goes along. Ventress controls the first half of the fight, using the Force in unexpected and unique ways, and taking advantage of the surroundings to throw Anakin off balance. But the longer the fight goes, the more angry, aggressive, and powerful he becomes, and he takes control of the fight and never lets go. Even after losing his lightsaber, he is easily able to overpower Ventress and win the duel. Truly a tale of two duels. Another element, though, that I alluded to before is that I think Ventress made a massive mistake leading Anakin to the Massassi Temple. It was pretty clear that she was way better off in the jungle with all of the trees, vines, logs, and tree branches that she could use that seemed to better suit her fighting style. Once they went to the temple, it became much more about raw power, and Anakin wins that battle every single time. Unless he makes a massive mistake, which he almost did towards the end, you can only hang with someone like that for so long. Guys, this is my favorite lightsaber fight of all time, and after fully analyzing it, it's not even particularly close. They got absolutely everything right and did not waste a single second. The battle itself is only about 7 minutes long, yet I am easily able to talk about it for much longer because of the incredible amount of detail that they put into it. The fight is visually gorgeous from start to finish and gets even more so as it goes along. The setting is constantly changing to keep it interesting. The characters have very unique fighting styles, and the choreography is incredible. Nothing about the animation is dated whatsoever. Every detail has aged flawlessly. The sound effects are great, and there are so many small visual and audible cues that add layers to the battle and make it more unique and memorable. The music is perfect. Not only do the music and visuals change as the fight goes along, but the characters get noticeably battered as well. This has everything you want in a lightsaber battle and more. I feel like this and the show don't get talked about nearly enough. It is one of my favorite Star Wars projects ever. Between this and Samurai Jack, Tartakovsky is an absolute genius. But the question is, what do you think of this fight? Assuming that you have seen it, is it also your favorite lightsaber duel of all time? If it's not, what is? Drop a comment below. I'm going to be doing a lot more Star Wars content coming up. That will be my main focus, at least for a while. So if you're interested in seeing more of that, subscribe and hit the notification bell to get notified when I post a video. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. Likes are so important for YouTube channels. They are everything. And stay tuned for some more fun Star Wars content. I will see you soon.